Welcome back, guys. You're watching the Sideline Starters, and my name is Andy, first team all sideline. And today we're ranking the entire Chelsea squad from top to bottom. They're easily the most overinflated, overrated, and underperforming squad in all of Europe, so I couldn't go another week without making this video. Before we get started, let's take a look at the tiers. Tier 1 is start, and I think that's pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be reserved for the starting 11. And for the purposes of this video, since we have no idea who Chelsea's next manager is going to be, we're going to go for a traditional 4-3-3. 4 defenders, a holding midfielder, 2 box-to-box, 2 wide forwards, and a striker. Tier 2 is the bench, and that's going to be reserved for our 7 substitutes. Next we have squad. Players that can rotate in and out of the squad without causing too much of a fuss, can fill in for injuries, and overall can develop as well. In Tier 4 we have loan. This is reserved for those really young players that Chelsea have that need to leave the football club to develop more as a player. And lastly, in Tier 5 we have sell. These are the players that need to leave Chelsea immediately. And as for the player pool, we're using all 31 players that are officially listed on Chelsea's website as part of the senior squad, in addition to 3 to 4 other players coming back on loan that I think give us the full picture. And without further ado, let's get started. And first up is Christian Pulisic. Now this one's especially tough for me because I'm an American. He cost the club over 70 million euros and I don't even know what to say. We've been waiting for years for him to finally turn into a world-class winger or forward or whatever it is that he plays as now, and it still hasn't happened. So I think it has to be a sell. Next we have Joao Felix. Now don't get me wrong, I love Felix. He has the best control, touch, and flair out of all of Chelsea's attackers. But the deal that they signed with Atletico has no option to buy. So if they want him, they're gonna have to overpay. And as talented as he is, he's not a goal scorer. And for those reasons, he's gotta be a sell. Or in this case, just send back to Atletico. Next up, we have Romelu Lukaku. Where do you start with Lukaku? Yes, he's a Serie A champion, and yes, he's a proven goal scorer almost everywhere he's gone. But he's just another media headache waiting to happen, and Chelsea don't need that right now. Honestly, ever since he did that interview regarding his time in Italy, he should have never played for Chelsea again. And for those reasons, he's easily a sell. Raheem Sterling. Only 2 players have scored more goals for Pep Guardiola's sides than Raheem Sterling, and their names are Sergio Aguero and Lionel Messi. I don't think he's washed yet, and actually far from it. He's the only forward in Chelsea's squad that you can argue is currently world class. Well, maybe not currently right now, but his CV is blemish free. And for that reason, we gotta start him. But not on the left wing, but back on the right wing, where he started his career and played great for in Liverpool. We're saving that for someone else. On to Kai Havertz. This one hurts me too, because I love the Bundesliga. It's my favorite league in the entire world. And I remember Kai coming up when he was 19 or 20 and thinking he was gonna be the next big thing. And while he has a Champions League final goal that Chelsea fans will obviously never forget, we've seen an entire season with him floating in and out of the number 9 position, and it simply isn't worth it. He's on the chopping block too. Mykhailo Mudryk. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate in the comments for this, but I'm starting him, and this is the reason why. If Chelsea were prepared to invest over £100 million in this kid, you have to play him. If you don't, it's a complete waste of time and money. I know he hasn't really done anything as of yet, but it's too early to tell. We see his raw talent, we see his pace, and I truly think that if you start from scratch and play him at left wing next season, you might see something special. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's done. From the second that he signed his extension at Arsenal, it was over. He's not the Aubameyang that we knew from Dortmund, and definitely not the world-class striker that developed at Arsenal. And in a year that Chelsea have needed goals more than ever, he's been anonymous. It's time to let go and sell. Wow, that's a lot in the sell so far. Next up, we got Armando Broja. And for those who don't know who he is, he's an Albanian striker who I think is 22, 23 years old right now. He's 6'3", which is no surprise because most Albanians are. Holds up the play very well and is a natural goal scorer. He suffered a devastating injury last year, so we haven't seen him at all this season. But since we're offloading all the dead weight at striker, it's time that Chelsea trusts him to be the backup number 9, which is why we're going to put him on the bench. Next up, we have David Fofana. Fofana is a young striker that Chelsea signed from Erling Haaland's former club Molde. And off that fact alone, we have to send him out on loan. He's still incredibly young and needs to develop more. Next up, Hakim Ziyech. Easy. Gone. Sell. Goodbye. The guy was on his way to PSG and would have been playing with Messi and Mbappe if it weren't for a faulty fax machine. Get him out. That's an easy sell. Next is Madueke. I'll always have a soft spot for English players that actually have the balls to leave their home country and develop elsewhere, and it doesn't hurt that the kid is rapid and amazing on the ball. Reminds me a little bit of Jadon Sancho, except that he's left-footed. He slots perfectly on the bench as the backup right winger for Raheem Sterling. Next we have Callum Hudson-Odoi. He's another one of Chelsea's players that had to leave England to get more game time, and has been working on his craft in the Bundesliga for Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen. He can play left wing, left mid, and even at times has played left wing back. His versatility means that he earns a spot on Chelsea's bench. N'Golo Kante. I know he's been injured for the last 2 or so seasons, but the guy's still got it. European football is like the Hunger Games for defensive midfielders, and when you have someone like N'Golo Kante in your team, you can't afford to let him go, even if he's getting up there in age. For me, it's an easy start. N'Golo Kante is going to be the holding midfielder for Chelsea next season. Mason Mount. I have no idea where all the hate comes from for Mason Mount. All he ever does is show up to work, try his hardest, and actually produce for Chelsea. No player has had more goals and assists from the midfield in Chelsea's team for the last 3 seasons. There's rumors Liverpool might want him for 70 million, but I don't care. He's an easy start and is the first box-to-box midfielder starting for Chelsea next year. Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's going to be Chelsea's first squad player for one reason and one reason alone. The man cannot stay healthy. We all know how talented he is, and for a 6'3" lad to be that good on the ball is extremely impressive. But we just don't know how many games he's going to be able to play all year, so we definitely can't put him on our bench, and he's not good enough to make the starting 11. Enzo Fernandez. Now this one is a similar situation to Mudryk for me. They broke the bank to sign him. He's a World Cup winner, and I feel like you don't really have a choice. You have to start him. But don't get me wrong, I think he's actually much more talented than we're giving him credit for. He led Argentina through that midfield offensively and has in little bursts shown us what he can do for Chelsea. It's just really hard to judge Enzo when you've seen what he can do for Argentina versus Graham Potter and Frank Lampard. Dennis Zakaria. Another Bundesliga product. I think he's fantastic. He's 6'3", rapid, strong, good on the ball for his size, and is a powerhouse. He's not a classic holding midfielder. He actually likes to come out with the ball. But for Chelsea's purposes, he's going to make our bench as N'Golo Kante's backup. Kovacic. He scored some worldies and is silky on the ball, but if we're being completely honest, he never materialized into the world-class player that we thought he was going to be when he left Real Madrid. And with the starting midfield of Mason Mount, Enzo Fernandez, and N'Golo Kante, there's just no room in the starting 11. And he's way too good to make our bench. So unfortunately, it's time that Chelsea cut ties and sell Kovacic for as much as they can. Conor Gallagher. Gallagher brings something that Chelsea desperately need, which is work rate, enthusiasm, energy, at least pretending like you actually care. The guy has a box-to-box engine, but still has a lot of areas of his game that he can improve on, which is why he's going to be Chelsea's second squad player. Next up, Carne Chukwuemeka. I think I pronounced that correctly. I believe Chukwuemeka is a box-to-box midfielder too, at least in the times that I've seen him play, but the issue is he's only 20 years old. So I think we have to send the kid out on loan. Cesar Azpilicueta. He's Mr. Chelsea, I can't sell him. And given that Chelsea have such a young squad, it's really important that they have someone like him in the locker room to look up to. I honestly don't see him playing much football at all, but he has to make the Chelsea squad. Thiago Silva. Now you can make the same exact argument I just made for Azpilicueta for Silva, but I can't keep them both. And when you consider all the center backs that Chelsea signed last year, unfortunately I think it's time that Thiago Silva be sold. Ben Chilwell. This one's pretty easy. When he's healthy, he's easily Chelsea's best left back. So I think that we can all agree that's a pretty easy start for us here. Reece James. Same case as Chilwell, if not even more so. Even an injured Reece James is Chelsea's best right back. Back-to-back easy starts. Malo Gusto. Originally I thought his last name was Malo Gusto, but actually his first name is Malo and his last name is Gusto. Anyway, Chelsea signed the right back in January and he's currently playing for Lyon. He's quick and really good on the ball, and any team that can find a way to squeeze in young French talent into the squad is heading in the right direction. I think Malo Gusto is a really solid substitute for Reece James at right back. Marc Cucurella. I've been following Cucurella since his La Liga days and was really excited when Chelsea signed him from Brighton, but he hasn't been the revelation I thought he would be. I still think it's way too soon to count him out just yet, and with the right system and manager, I'm sure he'll be a great backup to Ben Chilwell at left back. Kalidou Koulibaly. I can't tell you how annoying it is when players who do amazing in other leagues come to the Premier League and you just don't see the same thing, because then it lets people say that the Serie A stinks and the Bundesliga is a farmer's league and all that stuff. But you don't forget how to defend in 10 months. I still think Koulibaly is Chelsea's best defender, and for that reason he has to start. Wesley Fofana. Now I really mean this, I'm totally open to being wrong, but this is exactly what I mean when I talk about overrated. Young, French, and plays in the Premier League, so Chelsea threw 70 million at Leicester to take him. And honestly, I haven't been that impressed. So Fofana is taking our final spot on Chelsea's bench next year, as the backup center back. Which brings us to Benoit Badiashile. This is the guy that I want next to Koulibaly. First of all, he's a tower, but he's obviously more than that. Monaco have developed an amazing center-half talent here, and Chelsea are lucky to have him. Well, not really lucky, because they did pay for him, but you know what I mean. For me, Benoit gets into Chelsea's starting 11 as Koulibaly's center-half partner. Trevoh Chalobah. Chalobah is still young and working on his game, but has given Chelsea some impressive performances in the past. There's a lot to like about him, and he can play several positions, so I think he makes a perfect squad player. Edouard Mendy. His form has been a little shaky, but in all fairness, you can say that about the entire team in the last year. He's easily Chelsea's best goalkeeper and has to be in the starting 11. Kepa Arrizabalaga. I don't know what the point of this is. It's time Chelsea swallow their pride and just admit that they wasted tens of millions of euros on this kid. He can't take Chelsea to where they need to go, and he's way too expensive to leave on the bench. Chelsea have to sell him back to Spain for what they can, and they have to do it right now. Gabriel Slonina. The only thing more American than a school shooting is an amazing goalkeeper. Was that too much? I'm serious though. Tim Howard, Brad Guzan, Matt Turner, the list goes on. I know he's only 18 years old, but I think Chelsea should try playing him in the Carling Cup, the FA Cup, or the Europa League. Oh, wait. You guys are not going to be in the Europa League. Try playing him anywhere you can. He's an exciting prospect, and I think he should make the squad. Marcus Bettinelli. Every team needs at least 3 goalkeepers, and Bettinelli is Premier League proven, so he's making Chelsea's squad too. Christopher Nkunku. And I don't know if you guys have been keeping track, but we only have 10 players in the starting 11 so far. We got Mendy in net, Badiashile and Koulibaly as a center-half partnership, Reece James and Ben Chilwell at fullback, a midfield 3 of Enzo Fernandez, Mason Mount, and N'Golo Kante, Mudryk at left wing and Sterling at right wing, which leaves Chelsea desperately needing a true goal scorer. Nkunku is that goal scorer. The guy scored over 30 goals in all competitions last season, which is why Chelsea are in talks to sign him in the first place. Depending on your sources, some say the deal is done, some say that there's just a pre-agreement in place so far. But knowing these owners, Nkunku probably received an offer he can't refuse. He can play as a number 9, a number 10, and even a number 8. His potential reminds me of Roberto Firmino in the sense that he can play a little deeper, allowing his wingers to effectively play as strikers, which is perfect in this case because we have Mudryk and Sterling. Nkunku has the potential to be not only the best player in Chelsea's starting 11, but one of the most exciting players in the entire Premier League. And for those reasons, he has to be the final player to enter Chelsea's starting 11. And there we have it. We're selling Pulisic, Felix, Lukaku, Havertz, Aubameyang, Ziyech, Kovacic, Thiago Silva, and Kepa. We're loaning David Fofana and Chukwuemeka. We're using Loftus-Cheek, Conor Gallagher, Azpilicueta, Chalobah, and the 2 goalkeepers as part of squad rotation, while our bench consists of Broja, Madueke, Hudson-Odoi, Zakaria, Malagusto, Cucurella, and Fofana. Our total squad size is 24 players, and I know that seems small, but it's only 1 more player than Man City currently have. We sold all the dead weight, loaned out all the young players we need to, have an incredibly balanced bench, and most importantly are playing the best players in their best positions in the starting 11. If you think I'm chatting and have no idea what I'm talking about, let me know in the comment section below. But hopefully some of you agree. And if you do, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to help us grow. And hopefully whoever Chelsea's new manager is next season can turn things around. And that's all I got for today. As always, I'm Andy, first team all sideline. Thanks for watching. Till next time.